Welcome, I'm Bev Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up! I made this fun fold card with products from Stampin' Up! I sell these products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I have the free detailed directions for this project on my website, and I'll also have links for the products that I used, and if you click those links, you'll be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up! You'll see where to find all of that at the end of this video, so don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. I saw this card layout done by Lisa Curcio, and I just loved this layout. It's kind of fun because it does stand up. I used different stamp sets and different designer series paper. For my card, I used Dragonfly Garden and Go To Greetings. For this card, I used the Country Gingham Designer Series paper, and my plan was to make all of them with this paper. I made some cards with a friend. We made 36, 32 cards, I can't remember. And we used mint macaron and did not realize that on the other side of the mint macaron was the sweet sorbet. So I used all of this designer series paper up. And since I wanted to make quite a few of these, I went on to Evernote, which is an app that I use to keep track of the things that I own. And I looked for all the designer series paper that I had in Sweet Sorbet. And I did have the in color designer series paper. I kind of did mix and match with what I had in Sweet Sorbet. And then I also decided to make my own designer series paper, and I'll show you how to do that on this card. To tell you about all the cardstock that I did, I need to look at my notes. So I have the Sweet Sorbet. This is the card base that is 4 1/4 by 9 1/2, and I have scored this at 2 and 4 to make a Z fold. I have a piece of 3 1/4 by 5, and I have scored this at 1 1/2, 3, and 4 1/2. I have a piece that is 2 1/2 by 4, and I scored this at 1, actually this way, 1, 2 1/2, and 3 1/2. And I have a piece that's 1 1/2 by 3, and I scored it at 1/2, 2, and 2 1/2. So I'm going to make my own designer series paper, and I want to get a scrap of paper to put underneath here. Basically, any pattern that you have will work. So you could do this same card with a designer series paper like I did, or you can do it with embossing. In this case, I decided to do Artistic Mix decorative masks. And so what you're going to do is just put the mask over your cardstock, and I'm just using basic white. And again, you do want to have a background here. So you're just going to set this down here, and I may end up getting my hands all red from it, so I'm actually going to put some gloves on. These are not lovely gloves, but they're what I had. And I'm going to get a blending brush, and I need my ink, so I'm using the Sweet Sorbet. And let me move this out of the way so I don't get that all messy. And you may want to pay attention to where the pattern is going on your cardstock. And it's better usually to kind of brush off the paper first to see how it's going. And it looks like my ink pad is not very juicy, so I'm feeling a little braver. I need to juice it up. If it's too juicy, you get blotches, so I've got kind of a dark spot here. But you know what? If it's not really even, that's just fine. In fact, Stampin' Up! has many designer series papers that are intentionally irregular in the background. Kind of adds interest. And you will be surprised, even a light layer of ink really shows up when you move the mask. These are called masks, but I don't know, you might know them as stencils. And if you get it, if this moves out of the way, don't panic about it. It's okay, just move it back until you don't see any white anymore. And you'll be good to get back to it. And so we've got a decorated background. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. You can do the same thing with some re-inker and either water or alcohol in a spritzer. I found though that if you don't have the stencil or the mask right on the paper, if there's a gap between the plastic layer and the paper that you're trying to color, it gets kind of blurry. And so if you want crisp edges, you need to either find a way to adhere it a little bit, or like I said, I'm using the blending brush. You can use sponges for this too. You can still have some sponges. But these blending brushes really do a nice job of blending smoothly. So now I've got my background. Know that there's ink on here until you wash it off. So this is still, a mess waiting to happen. So this piece is going on the large section of the card. So then I'm going to cut this piece up. I need one piece that is 1 3/4 by 4. And that's going to go here. And then the rest of the pieces are 1 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and measure 1 1/4. Oh, and it looks like I need another piece that's a little bit wider. So luckily I had another piece ready to go. So 1 1/4. So note to self, you actually need a little bit more basic white. So one of these is going to be 3 inches. One's going to be 2 1/4. And I guess I didn't need that third one. One is going to be 1 1/4 times 1 1/4. We can go ahead and adhere this piece. So I didn't mention that my ink is Sweet Sorbet and Granny Apple Green. And I am using Granny Apple Green and Sweet Sorbet Stampin' Blends. So we'll put this one on here. And so these are going to go on that the third one from the right. So there's two pieces. I'll go ahead and put adhesive on all three of these. Hopefully I don't make a mess with that. One, two, three. So these all have a 1/2 inch and then another piece. So 1/2 inch, another piece, and then the kind of large piece. Okay. And then for the next thing, you do want a strong adhesive. I'm using the Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm going to put adhesive on that last section, the farthest away from the small. And I'm going to put this in my card so it matches that center crease and center top and bottom. And then just close it and rub it. We want to get a good adhesion there. And I probably should have used my bone folder already for all the creases. Might as well crease these while I'm thinking about it. So I'm going to put adhesive on this 1/2 inch end section. And I do want to have it pretty close to the crease. And then we're going to fold it like so. And then fold the back over it. And so we get this nice fold here that will always lay flat. The next thing is the same. So let me do my bone folder. And while I've got my bone folder in my hand, I should do that one on this too. So we use the widest one and then the next one. So we want the 1/2 inch section on the right, adhesive on the left. And we do want that adhesive right next to the crease. Butt this up against, and now we can fold this way. And adhesive on this side. And we'll fold them all the way over like so. And then the last one, the two on the right. This one just has a 1/2 inch on the left side. So again, center it, top and bottom, close it and push it. Adhesive on this side. And fold it 2 sections. And then fold it flat. And so we have these blocks that pop up. And then we just need to decorate it. So I have a scrap of basic white, and I'm going to stamp the flowers from, I'm going to stamp the flowers from Dragonfly Garden, and I'm going to stamp it in Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to fussy cut this, so unfortunately there's not a die for this one. And while I have this out, I also have a strip. This basic white strip is 1 1/8, and you need about 4 inches. And we're going to use this for the greeting. And I probably should have, let me do that again. I'm going to stamp down this way, and I press too hard, but I want to get actually pretty close to this end. So let me stamp there. Doesn't matter a whole lot. That's much better. I have a strip of Sweet Sorbet that this is 1 1/4 inches, and I'm going to even them up, and I'm going to put them in the Label Me Lovely. And this isn't anywhere near big enough for here, but that's okay, because we're actually going to use this curved edge at the end of our tag here. So again, center that, and we want to have it centered this way too. Push it through and pull it up through the hole. And if you can keep it lined up, that's excellent. I've got cattywampus a little bit here. There we go. And I want to pull this out, and I'm watching this side for the last of the words to just have a little space past the U in U. And then I want to center it top and bottom as close as I can. And before you squeeze it all the way, check again and then punch. So we know that these curves, even if I didn't get it totally centered, those curves are even. And so I'm going to just put some adhesive behind the words, and then I'm going to line these back up, and I'm going to move the greetings back a little bit so I have a border on that edge. This end's going to be covered up, so I can just snip that. You're going to want maybe a 1/2 inch or so here. We also want to have a dragonfly, so we'll go ahead and get that out and ink it in the Sweet Sorbet. And the dragonfly punch, I want to have the tail close to the edge of the cardstock. Then I'm going to use a Wink of Stella and just color in the dragonfly. Wink of Stella, boy, you cannot go wrong with Wink of Stella. It goes with just about any card. It's got a real subtle glimmer or glitter to it. And if you do this soon after stamping, it pulls up a little bit of an ink, so it barely colors the white on here, but I like that effect. And then you can clean this off by painting on scrap. So I'm getting my dragonfly. I may have called this a butterfly. I know this is a dragonfly, but I tend to mix those names up for some reason. And we'll go ahead and punch that. It does punch a little one, but we're not going to use that today. And while this is still connected, I'm going to go ahead and color this. And I'm coloring with the dark Sweet Sorbet, the 3 flowers. And I am not being super careful. I'm not doing any shading. I just want some color. And I'm using the light Granny Apple Green on the leaves. There are these larger leaves, and I think it's probably going to look best if you color all of those. But there's also these tiny leaves, and if you want to color some of those, that's not a bad thing. Okay, so there's not a lot of coloring to do. And it's pretty quick and easy to cut this out, especially if you leave yourself a border. Something squeaking, sorry. This is going to be too tall, so you're going to take off about 1/2 inch. I'm kind of cutting up these a little bit and then cutting some of these that are shorter because I just don't want them all to be the same. We just have a little more work to do. I'm going to put this piece on here, but I only want to glue about 3/4 inch, and I need to be sure it only goes on this portion. I do not want it to go to any of the other layers. So I kind of hold my finger as a marker, and then I kind of want to center that. And this is actually going to be centered with this piece. And so that kind of adds some dimension. This piece is going to go on with dimensionals. You could do it flat if you want, of course. And I have found having a little jar just for my dimensional backs, a lot of times I put them directly into the trash, and then I look down on the floor and I've got a whole pile of them that are not in the trash. And so I have better luck having this here. And this dragonfly is going on this block and just the wings. So again, I'm going to put it where I think I want it to go. I want to be sure it doesn't go off the edge of the card. So I'm picking it up and then using my fingers there as a mark for where the glue needs to stop. And checking one more time. And I use quite a bit of glue, so I don't want to move that around too much. But that's it. The one thing about this card is there's not a place to do a lot of writing. So you can add another 4 by 5 1/4 piece for the back. And you can stamp another dragonfly on that if you'd like. You can also add a dragonfly to your envelope if you'd like. So you can just put this on the back, and then you have plenty of room to write your note, sign it. And you have the matching envelope. Thank you much. Here is the web address for this project, where you'll find the free detailed directions and links for the products I used. Just click the links and you'll be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up! Click Home near the top of my page and you'll find lots of resources. Under Shop, you can find the products I offer to make crafting more convenient, how to get free products with my frequent shopper rewards, and a link to my online store at Stampin' Up! Click Inspiration to scroll all my projects back to 2011, most with detailed directions and videos. Though the products in those older projects have been retired, You may find techniques, layouts, or color combinations to inspire you today. If you're new to stamping, you might want to look at the basics. You'll find how to cut card bases and layers, what's special about Stampin' Up! Stamps, and some of my favorite tools. Under Organization, you'll find lots of free resources such as catalog tabs, labels and case inserts, color tools, and much more. You can take a tour of my craft wall. More organization means more time for stamping. You can learn about my Evernote notebook. I have a note for every current product that Stampin' Up! Has for sale right now. And you can sort them all by the type of product. You can search just for the stamps. You can search just for the designer series paper. You can search for the phrase that you want or an image that you would like to use. You can search all the products that come in a particular color. It really makes finding just exactly what you want very easy. And you can create your own notebook and search through all of the things that you own to find just what you need. Come stamp with me here in Ventura County, California, or get the best deal of all and join my team of crafters. The team is called SIP Together, and it stands for Stamps, Ink, and Paper Together. The team is made of crafters who want to save money on the products they buy, share with a few friends, or start a Stampin' Up! Business like mine. Be sure to subscribe to my website and on my YouTube channel. I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon.